Hey everyone, welcome back to Maximum Octane. We are still at Super Conference, although it feels like it's been months of uploading Super Conference content. We just get so much out of the conferences like this. This is the best. We are in Orlando at the ATI Super Conference. I am joined by Woody Howard from Simpsonville Automotive in Kentucky. Fred, I'm not even going to try to pronounce
it's
your last name.
Gestwicki, and that's okay.
It's easy.
And you're based out of Ohio, correct?
Canton, Ohio,
Canton,
home of
Ohio.
the Pro Football Hall of Fame. The only reason you've heard of my town.
There we go. Look at that. Two fabulous gentlemen. They've been in the automotive industry. How long have you been in there?
29 years.
31.
31. You guys are very similar.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are both talkers.
Mm-hmm. Thanks.
So, no, this is a compliment because we're on a podcast.
Right.
Fred's taller.
Yeah,
He is, Fred is tall.
Mhm.
That's an understatement. But one thing that is very cool to see in any kind of automotive conference like this, any kind of industry conference for that matter, doesn't matter if you're an automotive or not, you get to kind of see what's working for others, what's not working, what's something new that people are trying. I think you get so much more out of a conference with just the connections you make, the stuff that happens outside of the training and whatever seminars are out there. You get so much more with stuff outside of it.
Mhm.
Would you agree with that?
That's at least half the content. At least half the content is unplanned content.
So one thing I want to ask both of you guys. So far, we are on the third day, right?
Third
This is
day.
the third day of the conference.
Mhm.
What is one thing that, Woody, I'll start with you first. What's one thing that you've taken away from the conference so far?
Earlier today, I really liked the three-legged stool.
Okay. Can you elaborate?
So I learned early on in my career as a technician, the guy that came and worked on our wheel balancer explained to me the reason that wheel balancers always have three legs on them is so they're always flat. Because every restaurant table rocks
Yes.
and wheel balancers always have three legs.
Yeah, like it's a
So
triangle,
they're all because the wheel balancer cannot rock.
right?
So earlier today, when Leanne said that,
Mhm.
I was like, man, that hits home. That's like back in the day. Because, our gears are always turning as automotive. Probably anybody that
Right.
works with their hands and whatnot or does a business. I always wonder in a restaurant, why don't they just have a three-legged table? Then my wife would stop yelling that the table's rocking. So we want more three-legged stools in our industry.
Oof. That's
I just thought that was big.
That is powerful.
Mine's
Fred.
not nearly as big as Woody's.
That's
by
what
any
you
means.
think, but let's see.
Well, I've learned mine is more of like all encompassing. A big part of what I learned is better ways to communicate with the people on my team. And I don't mean the words I'm using or the tone I'm using. I am the type of leader that is not afraid to let my team make failures. And they know that. And I'm okay with that. Maybe I could communicate better what different things they can fail at. Be a little bit more specific about what they
Right.
can and can't do. I don't know that I've given them clear lines of
Guardrails.
what. No, I've got job description guardrail, but
Okay.
I mean itemize out. These are things that you're responsible to make decisions on a daily, weekly basis without involving anybody else.
Right.
That's on you. And then these things, when they come up, you might want to talk to your manager. That kind of stuff.
Okay.
Task-based responsibilities and things that you're able to own. And I think that'll be empowering for my team to give them those things that they're able to make decisions on fully on their own, things they should involve a manager, and then hopefully a very small list of things that involve me.
So here's that is pretty powerful, first of all.
Okay.
So I think this is why I have both of you guys on the podcast at the same time, because this is something that when we're talking about failure,
Mhm.
this is something that a lot of shop owners, they've done it so much, and that's why they're at where they're at, but then they penalize their staff for doing it like way too often. Because here's the biggest thing that I'm a tech as well first, right? And then turned shop owner and everything else. And I still do a lot of tech stuff. Now, with that being said, if you cannot fail and then figure out why you failed and how you're going to correct that failure so it doesn't happen again, you're never going to be that master tech or really good technician.
It's something I picked up. You've worked on cars for a long time, right?
Not anymore.
But if you were going to work on a car and I were going to take actual deep Ohio seeded rust out of the equation, okay? Are you going to break any bolts? No.
I've seen those
But
cars
why aren't you going to break any bolts? Some of them might be cross-threaded, but why aren't...
because I'm already so well versed with the rust belt that you and I are both in
Uh-huh.
that now it's like the the Spartans that always practice without shoes and they finally go to war with the shoes on,
Right.
we're good.
Well, and
Well,
if
you know
a
the
bolt,
signs.
if a bolt's going to break,
Oh,
you're
we-
going to
we
know
know.
before you break it,
Oh, yeah.
Right.
because
It
you've
creaks.
broke so
Right.
many bolts. And that is the analogy that for tech turned owner, you don't want to let your people fail. You get in the way of letting them fail. Okay, so then you have a tech that you're never going to let them break a bolt ever. Never. They can never break a bolt, and they will never get that skill that Woody and I have.
Before you do that one, come get me because I got to turn that bolt.
You know,
Right.
so here's what we do. And this is an exercise that teaches everybody I'm okay with failure. When you put an engine in a vehicle, you have a core. That core can have broke bolts, right? So the young tech goes over to that core and snaps some of the bolts off on the exhaust studs and the cam caps, break them. Put your ratchet on tight on that tightened bolt, and I want you to tighten it until it strips or snaps. And then you'll know what that feels like.
So that's why those Jasper engines that are rebuilt always
I
have
don't
all those
use
messed up
Jasper,
stuff.
sir.
It's Fred.
You watch your mouth on this podcast. We're not talking like that. No.
Hey, I'm a Euro guy, so that's
It's all right. You don't know better. It's fine. But the moral is a lot of owners have trouble letting people fail and they forget about the failures. But to take it to a tech skill level helps owners see you've got to let somebody break bolts off. We let people break bolts off on engines that we don't care about or transmissions we don't care about or junk parts. You did a caliper on a car. How's that work? You don't know. Take it apart.
Right.
You don't know how to take it apart? YouTube. I could show you, but I'm not going to be standing here every time to answer. I think that mindset of they have to break the bolt will help an owner let their team fail.
I really like how you put that because that's kind of what I was trying to portray, and you just took that to the next level.
That's why.
And
And Woody doesn't know what silent mode is.
well, I think that was because he was supposed to be on this podcast 15 minutes later.
It's
and
my
we
alarm
moved
to
him
come
up.
here.
Right. So, but that is completely okay, right?
Sorry.
No, you're
Nothing
good.
wrong
You're
with it.
good.
He's on time.
Right. So here's one of the things that I really want to make sure that we are getting across. When it comes to no matter what stage of ownership in your business, your organization you are, you started somewhere, you failed multiple times, even though the failure might not have been that drastic. There were still failures involved to get you to where you're at now. And that failing is not done. If you want to continue to grow, you're going to have to keep failing. Now, with that,
and let your guys fail.
Exactly. Now, with that being said, though, I did like what you said, where we need to put some parameters around what a failure is and what type of failures are okay. And I think both of you guys have recently went through this as about a year and a half, 2 years ago, where you guys had too many failures that were not turned into learning lessons. So our people were not able to change. So we had to change the people. Is that correct?
All but one.
All right. And which one was that for you?
So that's Marcus. Been with us the longest. Has literally replaced me at my shop. I stopped trying to diagnose cars because he got better than me. So I just backed off. Took me a minute.
You know,
It
that's
did.
super hard.
It is. I
Because
thank my lucky stars that 22-year-old kid showed up and now he's 31-year-old man and he just gets it done.
you're able to recognize that, okay, this individual is going to be able to do better than I am.
Yes.
You gave him the resources to do better than you are. You did
Yes.
not let your ego get in the way. Right?
Nope.
Now, with that being said, he's the only one that remained. So what did you end up doing?
So we went to a 4-day work week, which has always been a dream of mine. I had a pretty good team. Of course, paying attention to ATI. I should have paid more attention because we were on that COVID slide. Things were good, but I don't think they were good because of my guys. I think they were good because we were post-COVID and everybody was just buying everything. And we all experienced some of that.
Yeah.
So we had a big huddle about it, meeting about it. We talked about it for months. And then January 1st of 23, I think, went to the 4-day work week. And none of them survived besides Marcus. They got complacent. They just didn't make it.
Now, Fred, you kind of did not the 4-day work week. Unless you
I did the 4-day work week
Okay.
after the change.
Okay,
But it was
okay.
it's similar. You're always looking at the benefits package that you offer your team.
Right.
Because you want to be the employer that you get to pick who works for you, not where people come to you, get an offer, and then go to their employer and go, hey, I got this offer from this place. You know,
Right.
you want to pick. You want to have 3 people in line and you pick which one. So something I was going towards was a 4-day work week. And I had 2 advisors that a lot of times owners get in their own way. Their heart is too big, right? And they accept what is unacceptable. And I had done that with these 2 guys. And they were running my shop with 4 techs, 2 advisors, and they both quit on the same day. They didn't want to go to same day. They quit on a Wednesday, told me Friday was their last day. And part of the struggle was I wanted to go to a 4-day work week. Well, I had asked them for one to cover the other one's lunch, and they just wouldn't do it. So they would work 50 hours a week. They had 10 hours of overtime. Going to a 4-day work week, even with skipping your lunch, you're only getting 44 hours. And the reason they didn't want to go to a 4-day work week is they didn't want the pay cut. Keep in mind, I'm on a weekly profit sharing pay plan where if you want to make more money, you can just help there be sales.
Right.
Your conversion rate could not be in the teens. That would help. So, and in that process of them leaving, which when that happened, I took a look at myself and I thought about what did I do wrong?
Right.
Because
did fail.
I failed because I put my shop that was running. I mean, they didn't hurt customers, but they hurt the flow of things in the hands of 2 guys, and then they leave me hanging. How did I fail? And I figured out what I was doing was I was hiring based off the person's potential, but not considering who they are right then. And I realized that was a huge flaw of mine. And I realized everybody that was working with me every day was part of that.
Oh, man.
I'm like, I work with all people that could be awesome someday and never are going to be. And I have to replace all of them. So one at a time, I went through and replaced.
Oh, so you did it one at a time.
Well, two left.
Well, yeah.
And I had to hire one to help me.
Right.
And then honestly, the first one I hired, I hadn't realized completely what I'd done wrong. And the first one I hired after they left was wrong again. But one of the top things I did was I started using agency to help me find people not to plug, but Promotive's been a big part of helping me because I suck at picking what they are right now. So when I tell Promotive, this is what I suck at, they can interview towards that. Right. And then I found somebody that's way better at hiring than me, that takes the lead in the hiring process.
Well, it's the same concept as getting the business owner away from the front desk.
Oh,
right. If the owner is at the front desk, your margins are going to suffer.
Yes.
mm-hmm.
If the owner
especially if it's me.
Well, it's any owner for that matter, right? And especially if your customers know that you're the owner.
I didn't have a margin suffering. I have too much attention to detail. So my speed isn't as awesome because I just won't make mistakes. I have to do it perfect. And that cripples productivity. So my productivity went down.
Right. It's still going to.
It's never good.
Right.
It's never a good outcome.
So with that being said, you found someone to help you in your weakness in a sense.
Yep.
You found someone that did it better. Now,
both of us found somebody that did it. Not it was a weakness, but something you wanted to replace yourself as.
Right.
100%.
But Woody, you also replaced your staff. And you also failed again during that, but you also got some wins out of it. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
So I had an opportunity with this monster of a technician that was extremely capable. So rewind a little bit. The reason I air conditioned the building and went to the 4-day work week and offered the vacation at 90 days and all the rest of the stuff I did was because previous to all that, I could find nobody. And I think all of us were suffering with
marketing.
That. Right? I mean, it just...
You were marketing your shop
on
the hiring part.
And then to begin with, it really didn't work. But then you figure out that, just like when you do the promotion or whatever, and the first time it does not work, and then you do it again and again and again, and finally it does work. And that's kind of I've finally got kind of the ball rolling down the hill now. So I heard about this tech. I talked to him for months. I paid this guy more money than I've ever paid anybody.
You want to share how much?
It hurts, but you don't have to, brother.
Yeah, you don't have to.
I know you want to.
He was on pace to make over $200,000. He also worked till 9 p.m. every night because I don't think he wanted to go home to his family.
Like 14-hour days or whatever.
Oh, yeah. He'd come in on Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
This is a 4-day work week, and he's
working 80 hours a week.
No, he'd work as many as it took. And if he didn't bill that 70 plus hours every week, he would jump up and down like a toddler until he got his way.
But he wasn't like an overly efficient tech.
He wasn't. Man, I'm so glad you said that. He wasn't.
Yeah.
He
just covered it with hours.
Well, he was like the knowledge was there.
Oh, he could fix.
Yes,
and he had a pretty good moral compass. He did not want to rip people off. I don't want to say anything ill about him.
No. He was a good technician in the knowledge side.
But he just had his own little ways. He had to use this certain silicone that had to set up for hours and everything. And he had his own shop at one point in time. So anyway, I get him along with the service advisor, along with another technician as a trio pack.
And they all worked together before.
Yes.
You
from the
bought
same
it.
shop.
You hired a team.
I
Yes.
did.
Isn't that crazy?
I had a team quit.
Yeah.
Like Step Brothers. It was very Step Brothers. So I get the team. I relate.
But then what happened was that I figured out the advisor, the 24-year-old, was the secret, not the experienced technician that could fix anything you put in front of him. Because
Or his apprentice.
Yeah, or his apprentice for that matter. The apprentice was good. He
Yes.
was just
They're
kind of
both
brainwashed.
techs were good in their technical ability.
Yes, the apprentice was 21 years old. So Austin, I'm not going to say any of the rest of their names, but Austin, the service advisor, still with me. And like, I just plugged him in and our number, I had a good ARO at 700 and then it immediately went to 1,000.
Yeah.
And I had a good hours per ticket at 2.5, 2.6, and it immediately went to 4.
Right.
Just putting him on the desk. And then when the toxic technician left, those numbers did not change because Austin was the secret.
Switched one thing.
Right.
So then we got some other techs in there. They both walked out on me in December and started their own shop, which is like the 4th or 5th time that's happened.
Mm-hmm.
But I keep interviewing even when I've got a full staff, and I was able to grab a couple people off the bench, put them in there, and I went out there and worked on cars a little bit. And January 5th, I just backed off again. It was all back to semi-normal.
Now,
So-
that's phenomenal, right? Because sometimes you have to fail multiple times to learn the lesson. For you, you learned one lesson when you failed the first time. Well, not the first time, but failed in that initial team issues. And then you learned another lesson after that once you were able to find what the actual secret sauce was. Now, with that being said, though, there's still a lot of opportunity there. And one of the things that, you mentioned that I think a lot of shop owners and just businesses in general struggle with is the bench. We should always be hiring. There's no reason that we're not continuously interviewing and continuously looking for that top talent.
Kevin Green, really like Kevin, respect a lot of what he says. He always talks about those reps. Done that pretty good. That when I get a candidate and I know that they're not going to be the right fit, I go through the entire motions and interview them anyway and just do it anyway, because then it's just practice.
Yeah. But also that
And then sometimes I'm wrong anyway.
right.
Sometimes they are the right fit. I just don't think they're the right fit. But I go through the entire, I have a little regiment that, I start with a text and the Geno's test and then invite them to the shop. And it's not easy bringing somebody in. And of course, I announce it to my team. I'm like, hey, just so y'all know, I got a service advisor, technician, whoever coming by here for an interview. Nobody's losing their job. But although all those people I interviewed and did the same thing. So they all kind of know the process now.
Right.
But it's still awkward to just walk somebody around the shop and they're like, so you looking for somebody right now? No, not right now. But you never know.
Right. No, but I think this brings up a good point, though. It keeps your current staff knowing as well that, hey, the business owner, he is trying to grow the business. So he's doing what it takes to make sure that the business is not going to fail.
Well, and would you agree that having those interviews periodically all year round could prevent people getting complacent, where they're not like, oh, you know what? He'll never get rid of me. But
Right.
like, this dude walking through the shop wants my job.
All right. Well, then also, what are the chances that that individual, whether it's a boy or a girl, it doesn't matter, that walks through that shop is actually good? Whether its attitude's better, maybe technical skills aren't.
What if it's an upgrade opportunity?
Exactly, right? Is once again, if your people can't change, you got to change your people.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for you, when your team started kind of dissipating, what did you do to kind of regroup and recreate that culture?
I actually maintained the culture throughout. And
Wow.
it wasn't, I was the only person that realized I was going to work with people I wouldn't have forever. Because there was nobody, there was no advisors. It was me and 4 techs. So, I mean, they're, hey guys, good job. And I mean, like, what I did is push production, keep the business healthy, watch and see. Are they trainable? Yeah. Okay. And it's not like these were bad people.
Right.
But when you decide one day that you're only going to accept excellence and you talk yourself into it and you're like, got it. That is what my shop deserves, is literally excellence. And then you look up and you're like, man, that dude's not excellent. What are you supposed to do? Fire him? No, he's coming in, he's doing his job, he's fixing cars, right? But like, I remember one tech specifically that he could achieve 250% efficiency on very specific work. And I mean, like, basically anything an alignment shop would do. You gave him anything outside of that, it could be forever. Valve cover taking him hours. And the guy was older than me. He's in his 50s. he's not going to get it. He's not.
Plateaued.
He passed the plateau. He slid down, but he was a really good dude, really good quality guy. He actually left and went to get a factory job, which is probably better for the guy. Really good dude. But when you realize that, you can't just go, okay, well, you guys aren't excellent, so I fire everybody. What are you going to do? All the cars yourself? Like you said, keep the business healthy. So what I did to maintain culture was just explain what's happening and explain to them, we're going to be adding advisors. We're going to have a team meeting. You guys are going to help me interview these people. I'm going to bring them in because I suck at figuring this out. So you guys help me. And I involved everybody. And even though they didn't realize they weren't part of the permanent team, they helped me find who that was.
I let a technician go. The best I could describe him was that if you couldn't put a wrench on the bolt, he couldn't figure out how to turn it.
Actual wrench?
Yeah, like a wrench.
Oh, the on-off ratchets. He couldn't do the on-off switch.
He couldn't, like a bell housing bolt.
Yeah.
He was never going to
see it. Right. He has to have line of sight.
Yes. Like if you couldn't get the
he
physical
have the
wrench
right. He
on the bolt.
He didn't have the feel for it yet.
And I love this guy. He showed up to work on time. He did everything perfect, but he plateaued so hard that he spent an entire weekend trying to put a transmission back in his own Jeep. And I finally just put it back in for him because it was never going to happen.
Right.
But like your guy with brakes, with stuff that you could just put your hand on, he did great. But the reason I bring him up is because when I let him go, he was mad and he'll probably never speak to me again. But I know people that know him and he only did better. He did so much better. He was able to focus on his Army career. He got a different job using some skills that he had in the Army. They got a better house. They moved to where they wanted to move to. Everything about his life got better. And he'll never speak to me again, which is fine.
You improved his life.
Right. I improved his life because he couldn't have been happy just completely banging his head against the wall every single day because he could not get past that.
So your story brings up something that part of this find the right people and find people that have potential and are great at the same time. I had a gentleman that he is on a green card, legal in the United States, but working toward a citizenship. His family's over in Europe. So it's 5-6 hour time difference.
Right.
A problem we had was him losing his focus where he would be on his phone. Right. Not constantly, but it's sense. A 5 hour difference. So like he's talking to his parents before they go to bed at 8 in the morning or whatever.
It also takes like 15-20 minutes to get back into your flow state if you lose focus.
Well, and the problem was he was on his phone. So he had a car that he did inner and outer tie rods on. And the customer sent in a picture where the right front outer tie rod came off and they went off the road in the snow and went about 3 car lengths to the side. Now, luckily, they didn't get hurt.
Right.
And it just bent the tie rods. But the car gets back. We look at it. We see that's what it is. And I brought the guy in and said, look, I've talked to you about being on your phone. I've talked to you about listening to soccer matches on speakers. Like you're at work to do a job and you're not able to focus enough and you risked one of my customers' life. So for that reason, you no longer work here. And I fired him, right? Well, he still talks to my team because the guy loves working at my shop. Loves dream job. Like I moved to the United States, had 2 terrible tech jobs and this is great. So he goes to each one of my team and talks to them. And over the next 2 days, they each come up to me. They're like, hey, you fired him and it worked. And he wants to come back. We're not second guessing your decision. We're the opposite. You did the right thing. And now he's going to go be awesome. Can we have him back? You're really smart. Figure out what'll work. So I made a special set of rules. And Monday is the end of his 90 days. He had to restart his entire employment. All his benefits reset, Cobra insurance, the whole get up, man.
He saw the value.
Wow. No, and I said to him,
lesson.
the gentleman's name's Amin, which is like Steve over in Morocco.
Right.
His very common name. And I told him, they're all telling me, I am trusting the people I work with because they're telling me you're a new Amin. I need you to show me you're a new Amin. And the day you don't show me is the day you don't work here and you will never work here again. You've got 90 days to build new habits.
Right. That's how long it takes.
And Monday is day 91.
That's ridiculous.
And so far, so good. And he asked me the Wednesday before traveling here, because I came early. He said, am I still new Amin? He asked me. Wow. So, and that's, so what, the reason I brought that up, you changed a guy's life and know you did.
Yeah.
I've never rehired somebody ever. When you fire somebody, there's
Yeah,
a
right.
reason.
There's a reason, exactly.
So did I do the wrong thing?
Not in that
No,
situation.
not in that situation, right? That's an exception, not the
What
norm.
if I have to fire him though?
That's fine.
My team knows that I trust them
Right.
and I listen to what they say. And that's
That value is huge.
Well, that also shows them too that you're not playing. Doesn't matter how good you are.
everybody else was like, I mean, it was quick too. I mean,
Right.
Car in the Rack saw it. Okay. Boom.
Yeah.
But what's funny is he got rehired. He got to fix that car.
No.
Yeah. Well, he wanted to. We
Right,
made
right,
a new rule after
That's-
that. If you have a recheck, you don't get your recheck. But he's like,
That's-
I need that car.
That's some grit right there.
Yeah.
That's,
He
that's what
said
you want.
he
Is stick
needed-
your chest out and
and
just
he had
fix
to
it.
apologize to the
Right.
customer. He needed to do that for
Yeah.
himself. And I'm like, this is the new person. This is what I need. So
Right.
I just thought that story was relevant to what
It
we're
is.
doing.
It's very relevant because this is, once again, if your people can't change, you got to change your people.
Mhm.
This is case in point that the person changed.
And I didn't think they would. It
Right.
just took very drastic consequences to change him.
And this is a very lucky situation to
Mhm.
begin with because that could have been a lot worse than
Could
it
have been
was.
my family because my car gets their oil changed. I said that
Right,
to him. You
right.
could have done that to my wife's
Well-
car and hurt my kids.
Well, and that's where I was going with it is
That-
somebody could have got hurt.
Or
yeah.
worse.
We got
School
lucky
bus.
that, we got lucky in that situation.
Mhm.
Now, with that being said, I mean, I do want to kind of pivot a little bit. We didn't necessarily have a direction when we started this,
That's
Right.
what you said.
right? We got together
This is ultimate wing it.
and this is honestly, this is the best kind of conversations we're going to have because it's very true. It's what's on your mind and what's going on in the world in your shop, right? Now, with that being said, continuing on with the people side of things, there's two things that we should be looking for in our people, right? It's initiative and it's intelligence. Now, with that being said, initiative should be the number one because intelligence will come if the initiative is there. Now, there's opportunities where it seems like we've hired for intelligence before because the ability was there and whatever the case might be, that this is an A-Tech plug-in ready to go, right? But the initiative wasn't there. And by initiative, that could be multiple things.
Mhm.
The initiative that you need for your shop is going to be different than the shop down the street.
Yeah.
Your initiative might be, I need someone that's going to come in here and that's going to want to learn and want to grow and also potentially help others grow that are in the shop because they already have the intelligence.
Mm.
Or your initiative might be, hey, I need someone in here that's a go-getter, that is willing to just be a general service tech, but do it with a smile. That's what they want to do. They want to be a general service tech, but their initiative is they want to get things done.
That's a huge value to find too. When you can find
Yeah.
one of those guys or
Lifetime
gals that,
GS or
that-
Lifetime C.
Yeah,
They're wonderful.
right. But
and
there's
they,
not the
and they can
initiative, though.
get to where they can make some real money too if you've
Yes.
got them on the right pay scale of just feeding everybody else.
But even being happy with that GS level, they have to have initiative.
Exactly.
They can't become complacent and just
Right.
go, I've made my destination, all done.
Yes.
Right.
So that initiative is going to be different, right? That's
Mhm.
what I'm trying to get at is you have to find what your organization needs. You got to find what type of initiatives, what type of people you want around you. And sometimes I hear this a lot from not just automotive, but other industries in general. There's owners that want to hire more people that are like them. And every
It's a
time
bad plan.
Bad idea.
every time I hear that, I'm like, why?
Mm.
Why do you want a second you?
Yin
You
and yang, I want opposites.
That's
brother.
Right.
probably the only complaint that I have about Marcus is because I feel like I half raised him at this point. So
Right.
he's got a lot of my
bad habits.
bad habits. That's what they are.
Learned bad habits.
Yes. Yes. But this is why we're also bringing on people that have different initiatives, right? Because Marcus also has all of your good traits. And he cares about the business. He's loyal to a fault at sometimes, right?
Yep.
But we also know what he wants in life. We also know what his goals are, and he wants to grow. So with that being said, though, is there anything in your shop right now that you feel like you need? What initiatives do you need that you don't currently have?
I'm having to slow down initiatives because I need to give people time to adjust. My service manager trainee, Ash, who's training to become a manager, we've been needing a second advisor. We had turnover in October. We
Mhm.
took time, interviewed 15 people to find the right person. Jen's been incredible. This is her 4th week.
Awesome.
And she's just now getting a fluency where his initiative has been wanting to take on more things. And this is going with what you're saying. Somebody has so much initiative that I'm like, look, you adapt quick, I adapt quick. Everybody else, not so much.
Right.
We have to slow ourselves down because me and you will adapt to this in 2 days. And by 2 weeks in, everybody's like, I don't even know what's going on. Who do I go to? So the initiatives I'm getting. I'm just having to make sure it follows a pace that everyone can adjust to changes. Because I'm cool. I've learned to just live without uncomfortable change feeling, but not everybody's that way. Maybe Woody is missing an initiative.
I think we missed some initiative. Of course, we've got new people again. We need production is what we need. We never suffer for cars. We have a pretty good flow. We have pretty good systems. We just don't get enough out the door.
Like productivity.
Yeah,
I could work on that too. I could absolutely.
I think every shop, and this is where I challenge shops to start thinking differently. When I'm talking about mechanical shops, you guys are familiar with the collision side of auto repair.
Always watching.
Right. So collision, they have like if they're 130%, they're slacking.
They're in trouble.
It's bad.
They build twice as many hours and charge half the labor.
Right. But and the reason that they've able to get to that, because it didn't always used to be like that. There was a time and point where they were also in the same that we were at, 80%, 90%. That's what it was. But they ended up having external factors and regulations that made them to where they're at now. I am hoping that is not what the automotive industry needs as far as independent side in order for us to get to that kind of a productive standpoint. And this is kind of where we're at right now, where the industry is evolving so much because we have AI tools left and right. We've got opportunities to upskill our people that we've never had before with a very reduced cost. Mm-hmm. Now, with that being said, what are we going to do to start being more like collision?
I'd say something I have done a few times, and it's always been helpful. It's a nugget chase is what I'll call it. I just take my laptop and work in the shop all day. Stick a table over in the corner, second monitor, because go to 4 monitors to 1 is horrible. And then tell everybody, hey guys, I'm going to work over here. I'm just going to watch what goes on, and then do not change anything that day. Do not change anything the next day. Right. Even give it a week or so you can sleep on it, and they don't tie it to it. And they just wonder why every 3 months I just work a day from out in the shop.
I'm going to write that down.
It takes between 2 and 3 hours for them to stop looking at you. No, because the boss is right there. But at a certain point, they get used to that you're out there. And it's important that if they come and ask you a question, because you tell them, pretend I'm not here. Hey, what should I do? I don't know. Go ask somebody that is out here and works out here every day. Not me.
Yeah. Just ignore them.
Yeah. just look at them.
And that's it. If you just don't say anything, don't ask questions, just watch. I'm about due to do that again. And I was going to do it before coming here, but with a new advisor on the third week, that doesn't manage their expectations.
Yeah. Well, that's also a little weird. This owner's a little...
She already thought that. I just didn't want to go too deep into that region. But that's a way, watching productivity, that last time I found moving the special tools. We were completely relocating. I had the special tools right on top of where the techs were. And they don't need them constantly every single second. So I moved them across the shop. That was part of what I got from that.
Awesome.
I talk to the collision centers when I come here as often as I can. And my oldest son is actually getting into the collision. He's 17. He worked last summer in a collision, and he's going to do that this summer. And then he's going to hopefully co-op next year. So we're doing more and more service contracts all the time. And I always pay attention to what the collision's doing to that insurance, because I want to figure out how we can strong arm that service contract the way that they strong arm the insurance.
My advisor,
and we're getting better at it all the time.
Well, your service advisor,
he's
pretty
good. Is he good at it?
Yeah. He's killing.
How do they do that?
So here, I'll give you a couple of things.
I'm just glad they know how, and I don't, because it's something I'll never try and do.
Well, for the viewers that are watching, right, this is something that a lot of people don't do. So a lot of these service contracts, like the extended warranties and all of them, right? You get a push. You can get a push fee.
What's that mean?
So
push the car in and out.
Push the car in and out.
Yeah, yeah.
15 minutes, 2 techs. That's half an hour. So that's to push the car in. Now, hey, we're going to send an adjuster out. All right, that's fine. We got to push the car back out.
So you can't get rack time, and you know that, and you've heard this.
Yes.
Now, probably not all of them are going to do it.
Oh, obviously not. Right.
But you ask every single one of them, and if
Right.
20% of them
Well,
say
that's
yes.
the thing, right? What all these collision centers, they are putting as much stuff that they can and itemizing
That's what-
left and
Like
right.
we had to unlock the door.
Right. No, seriously.
Yeah.
And then when we're talking about storage fees, we're talking about they are trying to like the what do you call it? The service contract, the extended warranty companies, they are trying to cover their butts. So they're going to be doing all the stuff that they can to maximize their profit. That's slowing down everything in your shop. That's reducing your profit, reducing your production. So we should be charging for that reduction. So whether that means that they want to order their own parts, which obviously we don't want to allow, but sometimes, unfortunately, you don't have a choice. Now, if that's the case, if we're waiting on their parts, that's reducing our production time. So guess what? Do we need to put the car back together somewhat so it rolls? We're charging you to put it back together.
Yeah.
And then we're going to charge you to push it out.
Well, and the same as the insurance. Insurance, there's not as much insurance fraud because it's regulated by laws.
Right.
But extended warranties, I've had many times where someone comes to me and is like, hey, I had my car fixed at this other shop 3 weeks ago. Here's the receipt. It didn't fix it. Can you help? Sure. And I mean, there's no marks on the bolts where that shop has claimed timing chains and the valve cover's never been off. And this is something we're seeing more now. And this is why the extended warranty companies are forced to make it so incredibly hard.
Most of the time.
Well, mine's independent. But it doesn't matter who. It's in the industry. You know, we're having a portion of our industry that's becoming more professional, raising to another level, Meanwhile, there's another half that's just
Going
dragging it down.
Now, rest assured, though, that lower half is eventually going to.
Right. And that's why they're making this so hard.
They're currently exiting because they can't keep up.
Right.
Another thing that we do a lot of is the minute that there's no labor op for that component is when Austin goes to work.
Yeah. Austin Service Advisor.
Because now that's just time and material that we're going to do that in. And all of a sudden our technician just got really, really inefficient doing that. Like he's
right. But I mean, this is one of the things where my goal here is talking about this section of the podcast was more on productivity, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the extended warranties, whatever other external factors there are, there's so much stuff that we have to deal with.
And then one more piece of that, getting the customer on board. So we start with telling them, we almost guarantee you, because sometimes they play ball and the GP's good and you just owe the $100 deductible. And we love when that happens. Most of the time, you're going to owe a difference above the $100 deductible. Then we got a whole speech and they say, oh, no, they told me this. And we're like, well, in that case, I would take it back where you bought the car. Well, they don't even work on cars. In that case, I would call the warranty company and get the list of shops that will do that for you. And then they call back and they say, they wouldn't even answer the phone, or when they did, they didn't really tell me anything.
Right.
So then we get them on. So then the seed's planted. Well, then later on in that conversation, it's, well, they're really fighting us on this, and this is what they're willing to pay. And they're like, wait a minute, you're telling me I'm going to owe that much?
Yep.
Well, that so far, but I would call them.
So far.
An easy conversation with the customers. Extended warranty is a method of payment. We accept an extended warranty as a method of payment, just like your card.
I really like that.
You know how, Jason, you have an extended warranty, right? So you are their customer. I'm no one to them. I'm a service provider. So you have made an agreement with this company as to what they will pay to fix on your car. I have not made an agreement with this company. So just like you can't come in and tell me how much stuff costs, they can't come in and tell me how much stuff costs. So I will seek as much coverage as I can. And then when we get the estimate made, we call you first. Jason, we checked it out. Yep. $5,500 is what it's going to be to fix all these leaks, all this front end, all that stuff you want. It's $5,500. I'm going to seek coverage. Is there anything else you want me to seek coverage for on your contract?
That's amazing.
And then, okay, I call you back. They covered $4,200. You're going to owe $13.
That sounds like this thing's going to pay for itself in no time.
Right. Well, but you see, and I'm making it where I am helping you, Jason, get as much. But it's a method of payment. It is. Do you accept it? Yes. And it charged you $100 to call them. You see all this extra work I did for you. This is why we charge $100 service fee, Jason.
This is amazing. Now, we're running out of time here very quickly.
Yeah. Yep.
But there is one more thing I want to add on this extended warranty piece.
Oh, yay.
And the thing is, as soon as the customer tells you that they have extended warranty service contract, whatever the case might be, the first line of communication from then on, or any line of communication from then on, the customer is copied on it. So let's say, for example, your first time you reach out to that service contract, you are getting an email from whoever you get on the phone with, even if that is their like customer service at whatever warrantycompany.com. You're getting that email address and you are CCing the customer on every communication.
That's a good plan.
Now, with
We've
that,
never done that.
Now, on top of that, you're going to have phone calls with them.
Now, we have sent them the phone calls, the transcripts.
Perfect. Which recorded phone calls and whatever. That's great.
Depends on your state laws. Check your local laws.
Exactly. Yes. But here's the
In
kicker
Kentucky,
to that.
we don't have any.
Right.
No, big picture. They don't have any laws.
Right. Now, but on top of that, sometimes there's shops that don't have recorded phone calls.
Yeah.
No problem. You know what?
Documentation.
Document it. Write a summary. As soon as you get off, you're going to send that same thing to the extended warranty, that email that you got on the first call, and you're going to CC the customer. So every line of communication, the customer gets copied on it.
Yep.
And then this is something I have to do. Use AI to help you with all of this.
Oh, yeah.
It's just one of the things I've been sneaking AI into every podcast some way, one form or another. So just threw it in there, just add it in there, but it does help. Now, with that being said, out of all the stuff that we talked about, I know we went through a lot of things, but what is one thing that you would like any viewer or listener of this podcast that we went over today to kind of take away from this conversation?
Probably to stop saying no to the service contracts and get on board with the rest of us.
Fred?
Mine's going to seem so not
That's fine.
related. Every day, get up and think about your vision and your mission, why you're doing what you're doing and how you're doing it. And then make sure that what you do and who you have gets you towards those goals.
I like yours better.
Well, as a matter of fact, that also went hand in hand with what we already talked about, right? So
all goes together.
Exactly. One last thing that I will say is we've got so many tools, so many resources. You have to network with people in your industry. You have no competition. I just want to make sure everybody understands that. You can be in a town of 50 people and there could be 3 shops in that town and still you have no competition. There's enough for everyone to eat. You have to work together to continue to get better. Our industry is already making massive leaps in public perception, in our internal customers, our technicians, our service advisors, our business owners. Everyone is starting to do better because we are starting to see more people work together. And this is, ATI is a fine example of that, but you'll see it in your BNIs, your local networking groups. Do as much as you can and get stuff from other industries and see how we apply it to ours.
Love it.
Love it. Awesome. Well, thank you guys for watching. As Kim always says, stay safe, make good choices, and we will see you in the next one.